Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast, the USA Cycling Series. We are on the finale, race number 10 out of 10. We are on the Leith Hill after party in London. This course is pretty awesome, specifically because it is going to be a competition to the top of the KOM on Leith Hill, and it is one of the hardest climbs out on Zwift. It's about 5 minutes of all-out suffering. The men are about to get on course. They've got about 20 seconds to start. The women's elite category has about 5 minutes to start for their race. Dave, why don't we just go ahead and jump right on into this, where the series is at, because we still got some pretty highly contested results to be looking at here in just a moment.
Could see a change in our leaderboard here, Nathan, actually. Brett Boniface, the Canadian who has been so strong. It's a 10-race series. Big thank you to USA Cycling and Saris, the Pros Closet. But Brett is not racing today. He's on a break right now. It's been a couple of weeks that he's been not with us. He stacked so many points up. But Brian Hodges has been whittling away. You can see he's 12 points back with 35 available for the winner. There's plenty of points on the table that we could see a change in our overall leadership on the final day. It's been a great 10 weeks of racing. You can see Cormac McGeough has battled his way up. He's in the same situation. Good things could happen for the Irishman today. Viggo Moore, 17-year-old rider on the Lux team, racing for BRT here. He's sitting in fourth. Nicholas Pedersen, who won last week out of Denmark, 124 points in fifth. And then you've got Shell Power, James Bevan, Mike Cuming, the Twig, and George Mills Keeling rounding out our top 10.
Yeah, and so and I think let's just take a quick look here at the women's situation there as well with Lauren Stevens. I think she's kind of just walked away with this one at this point. I do not believe that she can be caught on the day. But Carolyn Murray, Christy Tracy, then I think the third position there may be the only one on the day that's really going to be up for grabs for as far as the podium goes. Monty Keller, Christy Tracy there going to be battling things out. But then Daniela Estrate there, she's only 1 point behind Monty Keller. So fourth place, she could also grab some extra points over the top and maybe grab a podium. So Daniela Estrate, very, I think, strong climber too. Watch out for her today. Clara James, her 152 to 126 as we work our way down. Those more minor placings, maybe not highly contested, besides maybe between 9th, 10th, and 8th there. They all, maybe even in the 7th place there. So a little bit of battle rounding out the top 10 as well. So let's go ahead and jump right on into the racing now. It is going to be up front on the Leith Hill after party. It is a little bit quieter usually because of the reality of the course. As far as whether or not the racers are going to try and make any moves, a lot of times the racers are just going to be kind of reserving for the climb, as we do 2.5 laps of the Greater London Flat up front. 2.5 laps, Greater London Flat up front. So I have a feeling the riders are going to be a little bit more conservative with how incredibly difficult the climb is that they're going to be coming after here in just a little bit. Leith Hill after party, if you haven't done it before, it's really about 10 minutes of climbing up, but the KOM doesn't start until about 3 to 5 minutes into the lower slopes of the Surrey Hills on the outside of London. But we will be around the classic course and on over toward one of the flatter additions to London for quite a while. It's raining. Kind of makes sense here, Dave, as we're out in London.
Well, we were talking about London before we went on the air here today. Nathan, I would be tucking into a Costa coffee shop on course right about now. I absolutely love the vibe that you get on this course. You do not. I want to go back to what you were saying about Leith Hill. You're going to need some charge on the battery when you hit the bottom of that climb to have any hope of winning today. And you can see in both the men's and the women's races, there's a lot at play. It's interesting to watch after 9 races in this series that we have so many riders that, I mean, if you look at the women, spots 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all in flux out there. You could see some serious changing. But for the men that we're looking at right now, the real question is, I mean, look at this list of riders. It's a who's who today, Nathan. Brian Hodges, James Bevan, Nicholas Pedersen, Viggo Moore we mentioned, George Keeling, Cormac McGeough. I mean, there are a lot of talented guys and hungry riders as well. Nathan, now that we've moved into this new era of racing on Zwift, the last couple of months, we'll call it the COVID era for lack of a better term, we have seen a tremendous influx of talented riders. It's gotten harder and harder to win. Wouldn't you agree? Winning a bike race is 10 times harder this year than it was last year out here.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that the level definitely has come up, and I think it's only going to get stronger and stronger. This has been a series going through this time of the world, and then moving into the summer at this point. And those who have been super committed here Dan Fleeman, George Mills, Keelan.
Yeah.
We're seeing here these names pop up, and it's like every single name that pops up, I'm like, wow, this rider has really shown what they're worth out on Zwift in this world, in this world of racing that's been created. McLean, every single rider that pops in here, I'm like, geez, but be on the watch out for this rider. But at the same time,
right.
a lot of the esports teams, Evoke is here, but Canyon ZCC, I'm thinking of them. I'm thinking of, there's just a couple of the esports team that seem like, look, we've done a lot of racing recently, and I think they're kind of on a little bit of a hiatus a little bit too. I'm looking forward as well to the next series, or the next thing that's going to be coming up. And I think throughout July, we'll have to see what pops up. But I have a feeling going into fall, then we're going to see a whole nother mixture end up happening, though. You're going to end up with like the combination of super forces because everybody's going to be on Zwift.
Nathan, take a look at this. Brian Hodges going in this group of three. The man most likely, if anybody wants to have a big day today, it's going to be Brian Hodges. He can take the USA Cycling Race League overall with a great result today. Again, there's enough points on the table that he can get them and leapfrog over a man who is not racing today. I won't hit this story again for you, but thank you, Nathan. Brett Boniface, not racing, is hoping to survive as our series leader. It shows you with 10 races how consistency really, really matters. So it looks like we've got a group coming together. We've got a long way to go out here, Nathan. Talk to me about the tactic, the strategy for Hodges here. What do you think's on his mind?
I think what's on his mind is he's not a climber, and we have a 10-minute climb coming up. And if he can get
trying to build a pad.
Get a gap. Yep. You get a gap, get a few off the front, try and whittle things down in order to make it a reality, because I'm not sure he can come over the top in first place on Leith Hill. So looking at that current point situation, I think that's the reality, is that he needs to try and get away, and this is a good move for him to make.
Yeah, so this is not time-based. We've been doing a lot of races that have been using time lately, like the old GC general classification format. This is going to be more of an omnium or a points-based racing throughout the last couple of months. This is going to be Subotkin, who's in the move here. These are for useful riders, useful engines. We are joking about Friend, Subotkin, Divola, and Hodges, but obviously they're going to get a response, and actually they're shutting it down. That's going to be Mosier here. Let's see what we've got now. A little bit of reshuffling is going to happen here, Nathan. 5.3K in, and there you go, another attack going clear up and over the top. But even that, though, will be short-lived here. All right, these guys came to race today. Stefan Kirkmeyer, have not mentioned him yet. But obviously with Brian Hodges being everything pivots off of Hodges out here today. Nathan, you identified the Finesse team as a team to watch. They were up and coming. Well, they have arrived with Caleb Carl. Absolutely a guy I'll be keeping my eye on. I just saw his name on the start list, Nathan. As the women probably just about getting ready to roll, and what Nathan does such a great job of jumping back and forth between the men and the women. But what's always nice is that after the men finish, we'll have at least 8 minutes, 10 minutes purely to follow that women's race in for their finale as well. So I love the fact that we have so much racing. This is absolutely making my summer awesome. So big thank you to everybody out there who's racing, and appreciate y'all showing up and racing so hard and putting on a show. Nathan, I'll throw it back to you. Looks like they neutralized that move from Brian Hodges here pretty quickly. They didn't want to play around with that, did they?
No, and I think just keep making sure everything stays Grupo Compacto is going to be in the favor of, everybody out in the bike race, but, for the climbers as well. And I'd be watching out for Dan Fleeman. Dan Fleeman specifically on this course, I have seen him absolutely dominate. Now, real quick, as we jump over to the ladies' races, they're making their way out on the course. Want to give a shout out to Corinne Black. She's saying first day back at work after 12 weeks of shielding. I've been looking forward to Zwift live Zwift racing. Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate that, Corinne Black. I see Zach Carey jumping into the chat. Also seeing Carissa Min over on the Facebook chat. Carissa, good to see you. She says, I'll miss this series. Good job to all, including Nathan and Dave. Thanks. I see that the second comment is a follow-up. Zach, asking, yep, it is a Leith Hill after party. So we've got 2.5 laps on the Greatest London Flat. So make sure to jump on or we'll make sure to strap in, as it's going to be a lot of racing on this flatter course, that's for sure. Couple of cheering on already as well too. Come on, Mikey Cummings. So, and watch out for Mike. I definitely think Mikey might be able to pull off a top 10 in this race out here today as well. So definitely also want to shout out everybody who is watching on the cross post over to USA Cycling. We are able to bring in also on Twitter at Z Community Live, if you do want to bring in any comments at all from the Twitter feed. We are unable to see your comments over at the USA Cycling because we pull them from ZCL's post, but go ahead and bring those on in or head on over to the YouTube as well. Before you do so, make sure to hit that follow button and see what's going on over with everything on USA Cycling. Team PTZ, following International Progressing, is changing his headquarters to USA Oconomowoc. BJ Alfonso, I don't know what you're talking about there, but I appreciate all your comments, that's for sure.
BJ has a lot of enthusiasm out of Portugal, for sure. They got a nice scene burgeoning there. Nathan, as we take a look at the women out here now, I just saw Lauren Stevens' name. She comes in. I don't think there's any imaginable scenario where she doesn't win the series here, fresh off of a win at Joe Martin. Absolutely, part of the American Olympic movement here as we look forward to Tokyo coming up. It's no secret we're big fans of Lauren Stevens. She has been a force to be reckoned with out here week in, week out. And I just really genuinely appreciate what a great spirit Lauren Stevens is. So there's the Tibco SVB rider in the middle of the group right now. Nathan, she's going to turn it into a really, really hard day for these ladies. There's no doubt about it. I would have to say that when you look, Lauren Stevens is everything world class, including her baking skills, I'd have to say. But Lauren is going to be a woman that, as we watch her in this group, everything I was talking about, Brian Hodges with the men, well, Lauren is the pinch point for many racers' dreams out here. But here's a rider who knows how to dream, racing out of Park City, Utah, Charlotte Backus, part of the Stock for Watch program, but here racing for her home squad, Team Turbo, and a phenomenal, I think, Nathan, we talk about embracing what we're doing out here on Zwift. No one has done it with quite the same style as Charlotte. You go, girl.
Yeah, Charlotte 5'6" now off the front. Interesting to see. Maybe not going to get a chase situation. You know, the reality of Lauren and her climbing skills, I think the rest of the pack may be watching Lauren.
It's no secret.
And so because of that, this may turn into a situation where Lauren might end up having to do more work, because the rest of the pack may start thinking, well, Lauren, you got to go chase this down because we know what's going to happen on the climb. So let's give Charlotte some wiggle room here. Now, I wonder also, because of the standings, Charlotte Backus is currently in 8th place at 126 points. Clara James Hurd, she's 152. She's not, she's 6th and up is not threatened. But Laura Matson-Cole and Morgan Chaffin are threatened by Charlotte Backus at this point, as well as Takashita. Takashita may have to chase this down as well. So interesting to see. But now Backus is going to be brought back in, though.
Yeah, sorry, Nathan. When you look at it here, this is sort of like watching not the overall for the Tour de France, but maybe spots 5, 6, 7, that kind of thing. It makes a big difference to these riders. So, yeah, it's 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's really just if one of those riders has a really good ride today, they will move up to 7th spot. Moving up any higher than that, and remembering that Clara is a junior rider as well. She's been riding out of her skin with this here. So congratulations, Clara, on a great job being done racing with us throughout this series. But they're going to reset it. Charlotte is a well-known rider here as well. She's dangerous. They're not going to play around with that. Taking a look at it again, this general reshuffling. Stephanie Sidlick, watch out for her today. Climb suits her as well as anyone, Nathan. So it sounds like, as long as you can keep your head above water, for most of the riders here, if you believe that if you've got climbing dreams, well, it might turn into a nightmare for you, but you're going to get a chance to prove yourself, but you're going to have to do it. I think that's Catherine Curie, Amy D Foundation in the house. Oh boy. Okay, Nathan. So we're really getting a good look at our women's field here. There's some fantastic climbers in this group, and these are riders that will be there when the hammer drops at the bottom of Leith Hill. Angela Pitzer, good job, Angela, rotating through on the front. Yeah, you're really looking at the strong women of Zwift in this group here today.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to just calm right on down, though. I think there's a little bit of a climb here in just a moment. They may be able to push the pace. The women's race, it does tend to be, from my opinion, a little bit more active. No offense to the men or anything, but definitely I feel like they have I feel like there's a little bit more wiggle room sometimes to work with, and so we'll have to wait and see if we see a couple more attacks coming from them.
Well,
Now, I might end up biting them off more than I can chew if we all of a sudden start seeing some sprints from the men. And they tend to watch the broadcast and they tend to go, "Well, really, you think so, Nathan? Okay," and give it a little bit of a go. Kolchinsky now making way to the front, 3.5 watts per kilogram here. Now 4.3, we're seeing 166 beats per minute. Very difficult to get away. If they're going to attack though through these sections, Dave, they're going to have to go into the orange numbers. They have to go into almost a full-on sprint mode. There's not a whole lot of climbing. The only section you may be able to do something with will be the left-hand turn back on over toward the reverse climb, but or not the reverse climb, the reverse sprint. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But again, 2.5 laps, Greater London Flat, and then a right-hand turn on over toward Leith Hill.
Yeah, as always in cycling at the elite level, patience will be a virtue. And I think that the riders that are able to just keep their powder dry, as we've said, up until that really once the hostilities begin on Leith Hill, that's where you're really going to embrace the racing at that point. Right now, I'd say really just staying in this group is the name of the game and not letting any one rider. I mean, obviously you throw Lawrence Stevens out of that conversation, but any of the other riders here, just making sure no one goes to the bottom of the hill with more than a 10-second advantage, and everything should come out in the wash. Going back to the men now, one of the more active riders today, Subotkin, Nathan. The American here has been all over the front of this bike race. It looks like, again, Friend, Boone, Moser, Kershaw. Kershaw's a big name to watch here. Certainly was impressive over the last few times we've seen him out in racing. Almost 12.5K. And again, today, if you're just joining us, 42 kilometers. The sting is in the tail. No doubt about it. That climb, Nathan, I really, you have the best perspective of all of this, and you call this one of the nastier, if not the nastiest finale that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the hardest.
Leith Hill's
times,
no joke.
Absolutely suffering. Yeah, we're looking at 400 plus watts for 5 minutes easily in order to win this race.
Ouch.
Maybe 450 actually. And Dan Fleeman, I've seen him win on this course specifically. We are getting some call outs that it is his day. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. Diavola comes across though. They do not want a calm day, and this is a rider to watch out for specifically because he is in the top 10 right now. He's currently sitting. I believe. Oh no, excuse me. I think I've got that wrong. Do I have that right? No, I've got that wrong. My apologies. My apologies. I think he's maybe working for Gel Power. So Gel Power, he is his teammate, and he may be working for him because Gel Power is in 6th place, tied right now with James Bevan. So it'd be interesting to see how that ends up playing out here today, as James Bevan is going to be wanting to chase this down. Well, maybe not chase this down, but how does this work out here, Dave? What do you think the tactic is? I mean, Diavola goes off the front. Gel Power, if he's in the pack out here today, how does that end up playing out that this is an advantage? Maybe just to loosen up anybody who wants points in the pack maybe has to chase this down and use up some energy perhaps?
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. I think really what you're seeing are, again, this scenario where there's two different races going on at the same time here. You've got your overall battle here, and that's Hodges that we're talking about as he tries to take the lead on the final day of racing. This is the 10th of 10 in our USA Cycling Series here. But Nathan, I think all those guys are going to be watching each other a lot more closely than they will with riders. And all of the guys that we're seeing right now, Diavola, Friend, Mosier, they're not part of that top 10 conversation. So, and even with that said, the force that they race with out here, the pressure they put on the pedals when you talk about the top guys and top women, we'll go back to that race in a bit here, but right now with the men here, Gruppo Compatto all together is the other thing interesting here. Not a huge group starting today, Nathan. Again, it's a series. It takes a lot to get through 10 weeks of this. But as you look at it now,
serious commitment,
no kidding.
Dave.
No, absolutely. I mean, think about how many things have you done 10 weeks in a row out there to our listeners? And this hurts as well. This is something that you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to spend close to an hour in the hurt box. And, it's a special kind of athlete that wants to do this. So as you look at it now, Nathan, this group, I agree. I have to say, with the way this climb looks, and especially the Palmares that he has, Fleeman is the guy to beat on this climb. As I do I'm just agreeing with you. I'm signing off on what you said earlier.
Yeah, I think he's the punchier rider. I mean, he does have Dempster out here to do some work for him as well. It'd be interesting to see if Dempster does challenge his teammate. I do believe Dempster tends not to have quite as much of a punch on a 5-minute climb as Fleeman does. We'll have to wait and see, though. Actually, that is a battle I'll be really interested to see play out, because I think when it comes to the line, there's no points on the line. I think there'll be no love lost between the teammates to see what kind of placings they can take and who's got the better climb there today. Dempster v. Fleeman out there today. When it comes to in team kind of camaraderie but battling each other, that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out.
I agree, Nathan. One of the things about a climb like Leith Hill right outside of London is that it comes down to who's the stronger man or woman. There's not a lot of head games. There's not a lot of tactic. By the time, especially that you get into the second half of that climb, really the last 4 or 5 minutes, Nathan, you are going to be making as many watts as you can. You try to turn yourself into a wattage cottage or a wattage mansion, actually, because that's what it's going to take. It's insane. For the people that aren't familiar with what it feels like to make 5 watts per kilo, 6 watts per kilo, how much pain even the best athletes in the world are in as they're making that effort. As the great Greg LeMond said, it never gets easier. You just go faster. And these climbs are a perfect example of that, Nathan. So going back and forth now, the women all together, the men are starting to really string things out. This is going to be Sean McLean, the Cannondale rider. He is absolutely throttling it here right now as far as the men's A race goes. We have a ton of racing all around the globe with our USA Cycling Race League series. And Nathan, I have to say, though, that this one looks like it's going to be quite a day. This course is perfect for our finale.
We're getting a lot. They love it. So both YouTube and Facebook out here giving you a little bit of cheering on. Wattage Mansion, yes, from Zach Herod. Keep them coming, Dave. Fonzie Downing is letting us know. But now this is a great little situation here. Let's just jump in with the close-up view here for the men's race, because what just happened is there is a 1% uphill gradient actually through the sprint point each lap over on the mall. And you can see they used that to their advantage. Britt now 7 watts per kilogram almost. I think it was Sean McLean, though, from Canada that really did the work up front along with Friend there from DTR. They got a solid 9-second gap over the top here now. We do see Diavola looking to get across. As you can see on these flatter sections, for those of you who are looking to learn a little bit about Zwift racing, on flatter sections, you got to throw down into those orange numbers, get into a semi-sprint, and go across in order to not pull that pack along with you. And that's exactly what's happening here. It looks like Lawrence unable to hang on. Lawrence is going to go backwards, it looks like here. Back in the pack. They still have 1, 2, 3, 4 riders here. Vola now, McLean, Britt, Friend. And if they work together, that is enough bodies here, but they've got to push 6+ on the front as the group is going to come flying downhill for a second. But as this is a moment of opportunity, they need to hold the gap through here. As much work on the front as it flattens out through this little underground. And then as they come on that other side, there is a 3% uphill gradient. They can extend their lead again, then get into the actual flats and start working together. This is a big ask, but they could make it happen. They have to be fully willing. It doesn't look like they are as they back off to 4-6, though.
Yeah, a huge ask. But Nathan, one of the things I love when you're in real life or here on Zwift, what really matters when you're in a break is who's chasing and how organized is it. If you look back and you see all of Ineos is on the front, this is going to be really, really tough to stay away. But if you see a mix of teams and not an organized, cohesive chase, that's where you can pour it on and really hope to get a gap with these guys. I think, Nathan, the reality that we have such a strong field, we're hungry to keep things together before we get to the bottom of the climb. We still spend quite a bit of time in London here before that happens. So as we hit 18 18.4K for the men now. You can see a splinter group off the front, but the big dogs waiting back in this group here.
They're rolling away a little
all
bit,
right.
44 kilometers per hour. The pack currently doing 40. So Evola does seem motivated. He strings it out a little bit in this pack again here. So they may be able to stay away if the group does not start chasing things down. McLean to the front. Now they have to be willing, though, to do, and they need to get into TT mode, though, at this point. They got to get organized and kind of do like, rather than these set. Now, the kick there was needed over that little 3% graded, but now it's like, look, steady 5 to 6, steady 5 to 6, but the pack now starting to get a little bit of work behind here. Watson maybe looking to go across. He's not kicking enough. The Dolce Vita rider here, he needs to go across unless he really wants to bring it all back together. He looks like maybe he just doesn't have the power to go across outright and is going to drag the whole pack with him.
Yeah, and this is actually how these breaks get brought back a lot of times. A couple guys trying to bridge, they don't make it. It creates this momentum that sometimes pulls through. But Nathan, in order to make a breakaway work, I've talked a lot about in order to win, you have to risk losing. And that's real. It really is. And what you've got in a typical breakaway, especially as you're not even 20K into what's going to be a brutal 42 kilometers of racing, is a bunch of guys who have about the same level of commitment as a Tinder date. There's not a full-on commitment there, believe me. And when they don't commit, no one is willing to work that. You need everybody working at 98.5% in a breakaway like this at this point to have it work. And these guys are all at about 85% because I don't even think they're worried about getting attacked out of this group. It's just that they can't fully commit with so much racing ahead of them. That's just my thought on it, Nathan, and why it's so hard to get a break to work, because trying to get 4 guys in 2020 to commit to one thing is really tough.
Well, the one thing I got out of all of that, Dave, is that, is that we know that your zingers, that your one-liners are not all as old as Donkey Kong. So
Right. Because Tinder didn't exist in the 80s, right?
So we know that we know a lot of them, we know a few of them are still off the cuff. So the friend here, 7.2 here now, McLean. And you're right, though. The commitment level here is, next thing you
pretty
know,
low.
It's still about, getting TV time is one thing. I think, though, on this course and how small the group is, it's not 100 plus that are chasing you. Starting with 56, the motivations might be different. It is a smaller group, and with how long this flat is, if they were able to work together, I think the firepower just might not have been there, though, to press a solid 350 to 400 all the way through. But Sabolkin goes again. He's so motivated. He's actually a pretty high-level Zwifter, too. Look at this situation here. This S-Works, he is on with those full disc there. That is the fastest setup, actually, for a road bike on the flats. So he's got the fastest setup here and hammering away. I love the Santa Claus beard as well. So this is a great little
That's his
setup
COVID beard
on here. Now the women are going through the same section where the break took place actually last. So let's go ahead and jump in with the women here, because this section is this false flat. And on the front here, Stephanie Sidlick here is giving a go here. Velocity Vixen and Evoke with Pitzer, as well as Pamela Devine now coming on through as well. So it does look like they're looking to break things up a little bit here.
Yeah, these are some names that you certainly would be turning heads with over the PA system at a live event, and I love it. These ladies are having at it right now. Nathan, we've got our OSS situation, no doubt. 15.7K in. Women are going to make this into quite a journey to the bottom of Leith Hill. That's one of the things I love about Lauren Stevens, is she has this attitude that if she's going to come out here and race, her goal is to win a gold medal in Tokyo. I kid you not. It's no shorter than that. It's no more complicated than that. In order to do that, she needs to get into the ring and spar. Right? Any good boxer, any good fighter will tell you that to get that last couple percentage points, you've got to be in competition. And that's what she's doing here. I mean, if these ladies want to attack Lauren Stevens over and over, have at it, because that's going to make Stevens better. We've said it before, Nathan. Steel sharpens steel. And that's exactly what we're looking for here. Caroline Murray, absolutely the number one danger woman when you talk about for Stevens. I have to think, I see Emily Cavendish in this group as well. Sidlick can climb like an angel. Catherine Curie, who's in this group. If you're with us for Joe Martin or for Gila here on Zwift Community Live, and I'm so proud of the work that Zwift Community Live has done, which means I'm proud of Nathan, because it has been absolutely awesome to see these in real life races be replicated. And I'm sure our friends at USA Cycling are happy to see that, as well as all these awesome organizers out there just waiting to get back at it. And we're making, we're really making lemonade out of lemons right now. There's Christy Tracy up on the front. Nathan, I love the way Christy Tracy races. Jamie sending this in out of Austin, Texas. Another great day of racing. And she has won out here, talking about Christy Tracy. So let's keep an eye on her. I'm always excited to watch Christy race.
Yeah, and if you do want to bring in any media at all, like Jamie did there with some pics of Christy racing or anything else that's related to the racers out there, you can do so. Just go ahead and tweet at ZCommunityLive, at ZCommunityLive, and you will be able to see it in the posts that you are making, and we'll go ahead and bring in those that are related after we filter out the internet. But so looking through here, a couple of more of the comments coming on through. Everybody's absolutely loving the Dave banter. We've got swipe right jokes.
That's good to hear.
Really, really great. So now as Brinker makes his way to the front, it looks like now in the red jersey, things are calmed right on down. The attacks coming on through the first lap of the Greater London course haven't really had as much mayhem in the women's race as we saw in the men's here, but as they do head back down toward the underground here, there will be again that 3% uphill gradient. There's a rider making their way to the front. That's going to be Wendorf now, 150 beats per minute, as you can see, 299. If you're unfamiliar with Zwift, upper left-hand corner, all the metrics for the rider we're currently looking at that's selected on the right-hand list. That is the friends nearby list. You can see who we're watching as well at the top of the screen, what we've covered. And then there's also this little mini-map that lets you know what the course profile is that they're currently on. They will not have Leith Hill because for some of you may be wondering this as well, just as a little tidbit. If you are watching that upper right-hand course profile, I'm like, why isn't that showing me the Leith Hill? It shows the course they are currently on in Zwift for that world. So right now you're looking at the Greater London flat course profile. As soon as they take a turn off of that section and into another loaded section of this world, then you'll see another course profile. So once we head on over towards Surrey Hills and Leith Hill, and we actually get on the Leith Hill section of London, then you'll see that course, that section profile in front of you. So once in a while, it does change in the upper right-hand corner. If that's ever been confusing for anybody, that's exactly why. And you can actually, if anybody out there plays any other games or anything as well, you'll actually know that when instances change of a world, you see like a little bit of like graphical changes, and you're kind of like, oh, something kind of moved a little bit differently. And it's essentially it's loading a new space is what's happening. So just as a heads up to everybody, if they ever wanted that. In the men's race, though, as Nathan gets off of the run on here, there's actually some attacks taking place as they make their way into their next, finishing up 2 laps here, actually, and they'll be heading on over toward Leith Hill after this one.
I can't tell you how much I've learned about gaming from you, Nathan. It has been awesome. It really has. So please.
Does that mean we're playing Apex tonight? Is that where you're gonna jump into my ranked squad tonight?
Oh my gosh, Nathan! After everything we've been through for the last 3 months of you teaching me how to do this, do you really want to help me learn how to play Apex? I doubt it. I doubt it.
I have to agree with
Life's
that.
Too short.
Yeah. Life is too short. Who knows how long that one's going to take here.
Hey, listen, we've come a long way, man. We've come a long way to be where we are. Let's take a look at the racing now. As the women all together, as Nathan said, but in the men's race, we got Mosier off the front. That's a nice cycling name. Nathan, might be a little before your time, but Francesco Mosier was the hour record holder back in the early 80s, a multi-time Giro d'Italia champion. And that name is absolutely, it's like a Mickey Mantle of Italian cycling, comparing it to American baseball. But everything coming back together right now as we look at both groups together. I did want to shout out, I noticed that Laura Matson-Coe is back in our field. Nathan, you know she's one of my favorites, the orthopedic surgeon out of Seattle, mom of 2. not only is she a surgeon, her husband and her dad are also all in practice together there in Seattle. She's quite a story. And we had a camera on her for the final stage of Joe Martin, and it was really impressive when you see. I know we're going to try to do more of that. Had a lot of requests from people out there, Nathan. And as we move into the next phase of what we're doing out here, I love seeing the riders actually. And we had a bunch of them this weekend. Really good job with that.
Oh yeah, and that's a heads up to all the race organizers. Just a heads up, we are bringing in more of the camps, so it's gonna be it'll be good stuff. Be good.
So
stuff,
cool
that's for sure. Turner.
Yeah.
Now to the front. They know that this section can put the hurt on. It looks like 5.9 watts per kilogram. As you can see, Ehul now as well from Cryogen in the men's race. That is, as we are back in that section. Let's go ahead and jump in with them, as this is one of the pressure points. As you can see, Ehul Cryogen there, South African now. Voiced Turner coming from Voiced, also putting the pressure on. Turn the screws just a little bit. Look at that name here though. James Bevan, D-Pack there is now sitting in a little bit. And actually, I saw earlier from Bevan, I believe he was giving a shout out to Bex, if that's his girlfriend or wife. Shout out for racing in the women's race. And I believe that she has made the front group as well. So shout out to the racing in this. I don't know if they're in the same household or not, but definitely pretty cool to see always when you see this tandem of men's and women's racing side by side. Something also cool that we have in the lands down under with the Vine show that we call it, with Jay and Bree Vine as well. So the Bevins may be coming from the UK, bringing something similar.
Yeah, right on. Very cool. Good catch. I see that our man Daniel Pacheco is moving up here. Daniel Ricciardo moving up. Pacheco as well as we start. You're right, Nathan. It looks like these guys are fighting for positioning, doesn't it? As you talk about that pressure point, there's a few of them along the way as they basically doing 2.5 laps in London before they start into the meat and potatoes of that climb. And that's where it's all going to go down, no doubt about it. Nathan, I'm starting to think that they're really going to keep this on lockdown here all the way through London. I'm going to be surprised, to be honest, if there's a rider that has more than a couple seconds advantage as they hit the beginning, the crux of the race, really, that climb today on lead.
You know, I almost, as a racer, if I were out here racing right now, I'd kind of be hoping that there was someone off the front or something to just kind of make people a little more tired, because it's that much more difficult when you hit a climb fresh.
Great point.
That's this amount, this time specifically, because if everybody comes into the bottom of this climb in a recovery mode, into zone 1, zone 2, fully fresh, ready to go, that means you're about to do your hardest VO2 max effort you've ever done. Bottom to top, it's going to be all in.
Well, listen, Nathan, that is a really good point. That's why Bernal or Froome or Geraint Thomas, that's why they have the team riding so hard throughout the day to get to the final decisive climb, right? They want everybody worn out. They want everybody at their limit. That's your worst nightmare, is that you start that climb with a bunch of the other top guys in the world fresh. You need to tenderize them a little bit, and that's why you have a strong team and put all those resources and let's be honest, euros into a $25 million payroll. Goes a lot farther than a $2 million payroll. That's for sure. When you're looking for big engines and talented riders who are willing to completely dedicate themselves to one mission, one cause, which is winning a race like the Tour de France or the USA Cycling Race League presented. Okay, all right. I'm looking at the front, Nathan. I get the feeling that we're going to be seeing one last attack here, possibly, before we get to the, well, maybe not, actually. It looks like they're just maybe doing what you were talking about, lifting the tempo a little bit here. But actually, this is about as low-key as it gets for a race like this. An A race, Nathan, where they're sitting in the low threes.
Yeah, this is a great question, actually. This is a good little comment coming on through here, and there's plenty. So I was actually noticing this, not just about George Mills Keeling, because there's been a lot of riders that we haven't been talking about that have just been really quiet so far in this pack. The level, we've been seeing a lot of riders going off the front, a little bit of attacks here and there, trying to make something happen. Nothing really stuck, but a lot of the riders that are the danger riders, like George, as well as Fleeman, a few of the other, they've just been really quiet. They just haven't been sticking their nose in the wind, which tells me they are definitely just waiting up. And now you do see Saris the Pro's closet with Dempster making his way to the front here. 132 beats per minute. I think this is about positioning pretty soon here. Sabotkin, though, on the front, not in the same kind of way. Did you see how Dempster floated to the front, but then immediately found himself at third wheel? Didn't stay there and is just kind of floating around in that draft here. Whereas Sabotkin, Sean, McLean, some of these other riders that maybe are not quite as concerned about that climb, not quite as concerned about the overalls here, are just kind of pressing the pace over and over again here, getting a good workout in. But some of these riders that are more in it for that top 10, again, let's give a little bit of a reminder here. What is the situation for the top 10 out here? Because this is going to matter coming into the climb. Brian Hodges, Cormac McGill, Vigo Moore, Nicholas Peterson, Jel Power, James Bevins, Mike Cumin, The Twig, George Mills Keeling, all of those riders that have been very quiet so far. We haven't seen them stick their nose in the wind at all. They are waiting for this climb because it's really going to matter for the points across up and over the top.
Well, and as we look at this group now, Nathan, Dan Fleeman, who we've been talking about, not in that top 10. So do they not focus on him if you're Brian Hodges?
I think you focus on 35 points. 35 points across the line versus 30 points versus 25. Your top three positions are a 10-point split. 35, 30, 25. Then it's 22, 21, 20. Top five even. That's a 15-point split. That's a big difference.
Now, talking about Hodges, right? Can we go back one more time? Because if Hodges falls out of fifth place here today, that's not going to be enough for him to overtake Boniface here. Oh, yes, it would. Actually, we're going to even have to look at the points breakdown down to about 10th on the day to see where that 12-point threshold is. And then I'm going to wonder what if they do tie on points. Usually it's going to be based on the best result kind of thing, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
There's another story playing out here, though, Dave. There's another story playing out here. Mike Schwartz out here from the dropouts. Mike Schwartz going to do everything he possibly can to beat Brian Hodges.
To take the points, because that's taking away points.
Hodges,
right.
All
that's
Hodges
what a teammate does.
Is, beautiful. I mean, 1, 2, I'm looking, I think he needs less than a top 10. Hodges just needs to get somewhere around top 10.
Yeah, all you can do as a teammate of Brett Boniface's is finish ahead of Hodges, right? That's your goal here. You just want to push him as far down the leaderboard as you can, limiting the number of points he can get to try to overtake your teammate there who's not racing. Again, just to be clear on that story, Brett Boniface had been obviously the man to beat throughout. I think it was the 7th race was the last time that we saw him out here, Nathan. And that's where he collected he was stacking up points like cordwood for the first half of this series. A few wins along the way, but a bit of an injury, some recovery time. He's not out here racing, and now we've watched Hodges whittle away at this. And it's going to be interesting to see. Again, that's really one of the big stories out here. But there's some talented riders. And as you said, it's not his cup of tea per se. If you want to look at how there's horses for courses, there's going to be days that suit you, days that don't suit you. And that's one of the beautiful things about racing is that you have to get through those days that don't suit you. And the days that do, you try to make hay while it's in the field. And, so we talked about guys like Fleeman being really well suited to this course. Same thing for George Mills Keeling, the under-23 rider on East Dallas. And it's been noted that he has done a tremendous job up to this point of just staying out of the wind. So when it matters, he should have a full tank. But right now, Nathan, that story, I think I've pretty much broken that down to the best of our ability here. The men all together, and they've got about 9K of racing remaining here. The finish today, Nathan, as we've noted over the last couple of weeks, the riders see a finish line. It's a blue, like a giant ribbon that goes across the road where the actual finish is. We don't see that, but basically it's pretty easy today, isn't it? It's the top of Leith Hill.
Yeah, top of Leith Hill. Obvious, it'll be across a pink banner, so it's not a distance. It's not a distance finish today. It's across a pink banner up and over the top
which
of
is nice.
Leith Hill. So a little bit different. Got a great little shout out from 1 RPM by AP Sheshi, giving us a little bit of a shout out to Christy Brinker, who's in the women's race out there today for the A category, doing her first ever A race, actually. She's current leader in the B afternoon race leader, actually. So it sounds like she is upgraded. And that's always cool to see, kind of like similar to in real life. You all right, I want to finish out, get this done as far as the series goes, and then win my series, and then, okay, let's see what I can do and mixing it up amongst the next group up ahead. So I do see Christy Brinker actually on a little bit of attack even, or at least on the front end of the women's race right now. So very cool to see. A little bit of attack here coming from Watson from Dulce Vita as they're going to be heading on over toward Leith Hill in just a moment here. Right-hand turn in just a few Ks. But back in with the women. Going to be calm, it looks like, with the women's race now for quite a while. 27.1 kilometers in. They've got a little ways to go. A little bit of attack, actually, though. Interesting to see who's going off the front. It does look like it's going to be Team Turbo as well as Christy Tracy here giving a go. This is something that's going to set off alarm bells, actually. Backus, Tracy, Seeger, Grant, King, all going. Pitzer. They're really starting to break things apart here.
If you want to beat Lauren Stevens, it's going to take all of y'all to do exactly what we're seeing here. Now, for Charlotte Backus, that would be a dream scenario to get Sidlick and Tracy to go in a breakaway with you and try to build up 10, 15 seconds. And the reality is you're still going to be dealing with the wattage goddess that is Lauren Stevens. I mean, she puts up insane numbers. When it all goes down, Stevens never shies away from the battle, that's for sure. Kathleen Curie, Nathan, I think, along with Stephanie Sidlick, are the two riders that are going to be the best of their ability to take on Stevens out there today. It's going to be a mighty, mighty battle on Leith Hill, that's for sure. And the way things are playing out, Nathan, they haven't really done much to soften up the top riders in this group right now. Again, that's our women's elite field that we're looking at, the A's, as they make their way now. They're getting pretty close to that point where positioning and the battle to get near the front for the bottom of the climb will begin. Still a little work. We're about a chapter away from that in the book that's being written right now for our elite women. The men, however, who started earlier, they were out on the course 5 minutes. Oh, I forgot Caroline Murray there, Nathan. I definitely don't want to shortchange the rider out of Scotland. She comes in as absolutely one of the danger women out here when we're looking at this strong group. But the men have got it going on right now. Pacheco making a run at it.
Yeah, Pacheco just giving a little bit of a dig off the front here, and it's going to be Boone from Audi here trying to come across. This is before Leith Hill, actually 189 beats per minute actually from the Deepak rider already. So interesting to see Pacheco here giving a dig. This is most likely in support of James Bevan to make some of the riders there chase things down. Bevan, I did notice, he used to be riding for Army Cycling, I believe, but now I've seen a change up in the name, and he actually has Deepak in there. One more reminder as we head on in. As you can see, James Bevan, Deepak, Gel Power as well for Deepak here. So interesting to see. They've got a few, they've definitely have quite a few riders here being organized, sending attacks off the front, making sure some of these chases go down, maybe loosen up the legs and giving Bevan a chance here. Bevan, pure sprinter. For sure, but he's got the pure sprinter talent. He's also got some climbing legs on him. I'm not sure he can take it over the top though, up against the lightweights of Dempster and Fleeman. Here we go. We're heading into the final few Ks though. It's going to be a right-hand turn through the little circle at the bottom of Surrey Hill. Little roundabout at the bottom of the Surrey Hill's entrance here, and you can either go left over to Box Hill, right on over to Leith Hill. We'll be taking a right-hand turn over to Leith Hill with Catanzaro from DTR as we hit the 3% uphill grade. Now, this is not the start of the official climb yet. The official KOM, you'll see a little pink banner on the left-hand side of the course, but we do start climbing. It doesn't get into the real serious gradients for a little while here, but a little bit of rolling, mainly uphill though. From here on out, it's about 10 minutes to the top of the KOM. The official, probably about 5 from the actual marker.
And when you look at what kind of rider is successful on a climb like this, it is such a unique racing cyclist. It's that man or woman that has taken that watts per kilogram to the very, very highest level. Nathan, basically, you're looking at the human embodiment of, a cocktail napkin with an outboard motor strapped to it. You need a ton of power with absolutely no weight That's the way you're successful out here, and you got to be willing to dig deep. All right, we're going to find out who really, really wants it out here. As this is the setup now, Nathan. You're going to see these numbers going up and up and up until it goes completely red across the board here. Nathan talks a lot about watching that over here on the left-hand side. You can see the watch per kilo. Who are the guys who've been sitting in enough? There's this really cool thing happening on Zwift, the boost mode. I saw that they're kind of activating that right now, Nathan. Well, basically, that's what these guys have been doing here. And there it goes, Lord on the attack. So
he did a little roundabout there.
Whoa.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Unheard of. You do not see that in real life. The commissar should be losing their mind if that happened.
He just did a quick little trick. He just went off the front to show us his X Games skills quick there. But now cuming Caleb Carl there as well. The train lead out now. But this, don't get baited out here. This is the thing.
Yeah, he just wanted to hear us say, "Oh, Lord," right? Yes, that was very interesting. So, okay, here we go. That's going to be, okay, dangerous rider here, Hawden. You mentioned Gavin Dempster, winner of the Tour of the Gila. He's moving up. Now, you see these orange and blue jerseys. That's going to be the Saris Pro Closet team. Stefan Kirkmeyer is there, the Austrian rider. It's a who's who moving up to the front right now, Nathan. It's, as you said, get ready. That 10-minute time in the pain cave begins right here, right now. You're on the clock, boys. Who wants it more?
So McLean now, 5.7. Caleb Carl sitting in. Now, getting baited out here can be the nail in the coffin on this climb. As you can see, you have to hang on. The smarter riders who know this climb, Fleeman sitting third wheel. He hasn't gone to the front yet because he knows this is not the pressure point of the climb. It's going to go downhill for just a moment here. Definitely get a little bit of a split up front now. Schwart now to fourth wheel, fifth wheel, as you can see. Pacheco as well. And see, all of the riders who know exactly how to manage this climb have not stuck their nose in the wind. The train, DBD, Caleb Carl now to the front a little bit, but nothing serious just yet because as you can see, look at the course profile now in the upper right-hand corner. You can really get an idea of this climb. Slight gradient, 5, 6, 7%, and then it kicks right into 8 and never goes back down all the way up into the 12 or so plus as we head through the little village that's in the middle of Leith Hill. So now Caleb Carl pressing on 5.1. Lots of drafting ability still, though, here. So the riders are going to try and... Now, my goal on this part of this climb is essentially going to be, if you're a part of this race right now, how low can I keep my heart rate without getting dropped and being in the right position, not too far back in the pack so I don't have to respond with too much of a kick when the real kicks start to go.
The severity of this climb really kicks in around the halfway point when you talk about distance, as that last kilometer is absolute. I mean, the pain level logarithmically increases out there. What they're looking at right now, Nathan, is absolutely nothing compared to what they're going to see a little bit later here. As you mentioned, absolutely the name of the game right now, keeping it cool. No reason to hit the front yet. It will become absolute pandemonium by the time we get it. So, Nathan, I'll make this statement now. The winner of this race wins alone today. I can't imagine how there's any kind of a group by the time this one is done and dusted on top of Leith Hill.
1 or 2 riders together, maybe 3. I have a feeling, you're gonna have this situation where it's a sprint of attrition, perhaps, or one rider alone. It'll be one of the two. I have seen Kirkmeyer and Fleeman go to the line together on this in an all-out sprint, but it's gonna be very. I mean, the percentages are that close between a couple of these riders here. They really are. And I think that the reality of what they can hold, but also what kind of energy reserves they have kept, every last percentage point is going to matter. Every 10th of percentage point is going to matter to make that happen. Look at the three orange jerseys here. Actually, 2 orange jerseys there. That's Dempster and Fleeman. And that's the in-team battle we were talking about here. But it may be a lead out for one of them that's going to go to the front and try and give the other the setup, because there is a little bit of a draft on an uphill even. So maybe Dempster going to do the work for Fleeman, because I think Fleeman is the favorite on this climb.
Yeah, they're racing for the win on the day. I'm going to guess that the series is not what it's about, as these guys will look to execute their tactical superiority or try to prove that tactical superiority out here. It's going to be interesting, though, because they've got some riders that, as we've mentioned, over the last month, there's been a new breed of riders that we have out here, a little bit of a shift. And as it's it's certainly going to be quite a challenge out of this group to win. The women's race, a little bit of a different story going on out there. But with the men, Caleb Carl, certainly that would be a perfect example, Nathan, of a rider that maybe they're not that familiar with. What are your thoughts on that? Is Caleb Carl coming out of the woodwork right now on these guys?
It may be. Now, Caleb Carl, he had a good result, Joe Martin, on a very different type of climbing situation, though. We're talking
Right.
30 seconds,
Power climbs that
15
day.
seconds, 1-2 minutes, not this 5-minute all-out one-time go. So, and not this, not like a double, triple punch over and over. Quick recovery, go again. Quick recovery, go again. So we're just about to get right on into it with this final climb here. This will be 5 minutes to the top. There's the women's situation. They're going to be taking their right-hand turn in just a few moments on over toward this section. We'll finish up this section and then get into the climbing with the women. They've still got about 5 minutes before they really start their climbing out on course. As we get into the bushes here. Now there it is. There's the pink marker. We have started the KOM officially now, and I have a feeling we're going to start seeing riders making their way to the front. 1% now, but in just a moment, we're going to really start to see it to ramp up. Now, be on the watch out. The story out here for the series overall is going to be the Evoke jersey of Brian Hodges. Brian Hodges has to finish somewhere in the top 10, I believe it is, or maybe just a little, maybe top 10, top 11 out here amongst these riders. If he does not, he will not take this over. He's got to get 12 points plus on the day. So right around 12 points. If he takes that down, he will be able to take over the series lead and win the USA Cycling Racing Series out here today. So Dempster now to the front as you start to see Saris the Pros Clause. Let's take the nose in the wind. 6%. As you can see, the moment it hits those orange numbers in the upper right-hand corner for the gradients, the riders start knowing, look, it don't matter quite as much, but still following wheels, playing it smart. There goes Kershaw. 11 watts per kilogram. Yep. This is the first go, and these are the ones that really hurt. And recovering from these kinds of efforts are so difficult. If you go too hard, you can end up really in the hurt locker and never recovering from it. This is a big risk, actually, to go like this.
Well, it's just about all red now. Here we go. It is on like Donkey Kong. From here on in, Fleeman's going to make his play. All right, this is your OSS situation. Only the strong will survive on Leith Hill here today. And I think Dan Fleeman is going to be the man to beat, Nathan. It looks like he's the gold standard out here. We'll be watching Fleeman quite a bit over the next 4.5 minutes or so. Let's see who's going to be leading up the chase. But, Nathan, I really do think now it's every man for himself. Not much a team can do for you anymore. It's just going to be about making watts out here. So
Fleeman goes across almost easily here at this point. 184 beats per minute. If I were Fleeman, though, I'd be watching these other riders. After going across like that at 184 beats per minute, I'd be looking just to try and sit in as much as I possibly can with Kirkmeyer. Kershaw, follow the wheels. There's going to be more surges before we hit the actual finish here. 9% gradient. Now it's going to really get into the double digits here. This is where it really hurts, and you're just looking to spin. Look at the RPM, 79 RPM, getting into very low grinding at this point. PTZ comes across Ricardo on the attack. There's a counter from PTZ.
Daniel Ricciardo, Portugal, is in full effect. We've been waiting for this moment. The Portuguese riders have been knocking on the door. Is it going to be Ricciardo today making the difference? Again, we got a long way to go. This is going to be brutal out here as everybody's going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, looking for every watt that they can find. But here we go again, setting the table for you. It is Ricciardo with a big surge. And Nathan, he's keeping those numbers up there in the stratosphere. This is outstanding. Then the Austrian Kirkmeyer, then Fleeman. That's your top three right now on the climb.
Fleeman looking to go across here. He may have another kick as Ricardo backs off the 7.1 watts per kilogram. It looks like Fleeman still has the watts to maybe come across. He's almost on Kirkmeyer's wheel. Kirkmeyer does not want to go yet. I think Kirkmeyer knows that Fleeman is sitting in and waiting for his moment, and we're about to see the banner. It's just around the next corner. The right hand and then a left hander just a little bit. You can almost see the banner. There it is around the left-hand turn up ahead. It's 3 to the line, 8 seconds. Not going to be happening for Kershaw here. Kirkmeyer goes. Can Fleeman respond? I think Kirkmeyer's got 13 watts per kilogram. 193. Fleeman's not going to be a respond to that. Kirkmeyer goes. Will he have... We saw him have a cone the other day, though, so we'll have to see. Perhaps it might be a little too much. Up at the 198 here. Fleeman looks to go, but I mean, there's just there's just reality. It's just not going to be happening
Can't
at that kind
respond
of
to
a
that.
kick as Kirkmeyer gets almost 200 beats per minute. Fleeman, though, going to be coming across for second. Ricardo, it looks like at 7.7, going to be coming through for third place. Kershaw now, it looks like here, fourth on the day. Caleb Carl, E. Park. Where is Hodges? Hodges
Come
is
on.
battling out here for a top spot, and I don't even see
Doesn't
him.
look good.
Park,
Doesn't look
Carl,
good.
Segala, Dempster, Catanzaro. Where is Brian Hodges?
Somewhere in Canada, Brett Boniface cracked open a Molson, I'm going to guess, because I think he will hold on.
We'll see.
as
This
our
might be
series-
close here. It might be between. And this actually matters. I mean, Hodges, Collins,
Oh,
and Bevins
boy.
to the line. These places may matter. He has to sprint these boys still because he might be unsure. He might not know. Actually, on his screen, I bet you he knows exactly what he has to do. And I have a feeling that Hodges is going to know exactly what to do about this situation. And he's still battling. So I have a feeling maybe just finishing up, maybe. It's about those points on the day still for him. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, normally people say, hey, Siri, and ask a question. And we say, hey, Martin, and ask. Actually, that just triggered my iPad here. Whoops. But when we ask Martin for help, and I would wonder, where is that Mason-Dixon line on points for the man that we're talking about, Brian Hodges? We'll know in a moment here as we finish more riders, but we're going back to the women now. They got a bike race ahead of them. So what you just witnessed, get ready to see how the elite women played things out. There's the junior standout, Clara James here, and it looks like it's starting to stretch out behind her. That pink cap is going to be Lauren Stevens there, the blue jersey of Tibco SVB. Looks like a selection of about a dozen riders, Nathan, has occurred here. Well, maybe not, because I'm not looking behind. Oh yeah, everybody is basically still there, but you get the feeling they're starting to wind it up.
Yeah, King here as well.
They
as
are
James.
winding it up. Yeah.
Yeah, they are definitely winding it up here, as you can see. King CLS now, as the riders are starting to drop off. See, Stevens looking comfortable there. It looks like Keller as well as back is Kolchinsky, as you can see. Moving our way back here, Pamela Levine sitting in, but we're going to end up with a much smaller pack soon enough here. As we can see in the upper right-hand corner again, there is the course profile. They're starting the bottom slopes. 10 minutes, bottom to the top. They'll finish up the first half in about 5. And then as we really get into those steeper sections, about 5 minutes to the top, you're waiting for that pylon on the left-hand side. Pamela Levine sitting in as best she can there for the Vision team, working her way up. Now, as you can see, riders really looking for position because it does flatten out to a 1% negative gradient or so at a couple different points. And drafting still matters for sure on these lower slopes.
Yeah, that becomes less of a factor in the final K, but without a doubt, Nathan. And as we take a look now, I mentioned Stephanie Sidlick is a rider to watch. She's well positioned. I'm looking for Catherine Curie here as well. She should be very well suited to this finale. Starting to whittle this group down, however, now. These riders keep fighting, though. That's what's so impressive here, as this is going to be the last time we see gradient numbers this low, as it really does start to ramp up from here on in. All right, Nathan, here we go. Click in. Let's engage. We're locked and loaded now.
Carolyn Murray, let's start talking about the names here. I mean, this is all the top 10 situation, actually, when it comes to the overall. Sidlick, Kolchinsky, Backus there from Turbo, Christy Tracy, Carolyn Murray, James Herr, Lauren Stevens, King is there, Pamela Levine, Cameron from the Saris team, Catherine Curry, Monali Keller has still made it. Is Matson Coe. Matson Coe is still there as well for the Evoke team. But now, 2 seconds back, Nussbaumer not going to be able to hang on, as you can see, team at Type 1. It looks like unable to hang on. Always good to see the support of JDRF out there. Just want to give a quick little shout out to that. Some great cause riding there for sure.
No kidding.
That's Bummer has also given a cause here with the wattage there, coming back into the fight for the race out here in that jersey.
Yeah, I love the way the diabetic community has looked at cycling as a platform where they can get their word out. And, I mean, it's just so great for anybody to be getting exercise, no matter what level. This is a little beyond exercise at this point now. As we bring these ladies into the finale, there's Caroline Murray moving up. That Scottish flag there, the blue with the cross through the middle there, is going to be highlighted. That's going to be the mighty, mighty Christy Tracy, Stephanie Sidlick right with her. And then here comes Stevens. Here comes Lauren Stevens, Nathan. It's on now.
Yeah, and it's going to be James Hurd, Sidlick sitting in. You said Sidlick could climb pretty well out here today. This is a situation I'm going to be watching closely to see who can really pull off this kind of a 5-minute all-out effort. We're going to get an idea of true fitness levels. These kind of attacks, these kind of climbs, these kinds of efforts really give you an idea. It's the 20-minute and the 5-minute. Those two really tell you who an athlete is at the end of the day. And we're going to see, I think, amongst these women here, how they stack up against each other. This is a real proving grounds for them out here.
Yeah, that 5-minute is interesting. That's about what we're going to be looking at here. Excuse me, Stephanie Sidlick is from Pittsburgh. They have some of the steepest intercity climbs in America are in Pittsburgh. I'm thinking of Washington Street, Nathan, where she really is, when you talk about that strength to weight ratio, a rider really well suited to our finale here.
Yeah, Murray now 5'9" toward the front, though. We're still waiting for the official climb to start up here now into 3% gradient. We've got a pack that is formed now at this point. As we look back just a little bit, it does look like Nussbaumer falling off 5.4 watts per kilogram. You see exactly what happens if you don't hold those wheels through these sections. Pitts are here as well, pulling from Evoke, as you can see. Now also 142 beats per minute. They'll just be rolling in together into the bottom of the climb and then battling out for themselves for the minor placings, 18th place or so. Nussbaumer sitting in 13th, as you can see. Dew here from Army Cycling. Bex Dew, nice ride here from Bex Dew. Solid shout out here, as we heard from James Bevan earlier. So 40.4 kilometers in, 172 beats per minute. See if she can get a solid result out here. Also, Brinker, first time rider in the A category. Watch out for Brinker. See what Brinker can pull off today too.
Nathan, I've learned enough to know that anybody who's in this group is a really strong Zwifter. So it's not surprising, or I'm not raising an eyebrow, but I am impressed, because riders that you're kind of hearing of for the first time to be in this group tells me that they jumped in to the deep end and are doing a tremendous job. That's really impressive to be in this group with not that much Zwift racing experience. Here's a lady who has a ton of experience out of Austin, Texas, Christy Tracy. Well,
look at the bells going off. Stevens immediately responds.
Yeah.
Immediately responds and goes to the wheel.
Well, you just poked the bear, more or less. As now you're going to see Lauren Stevens do what she does, but it looks like Murray's came to play today. All right, Caroline, great job. Caroline Murray is ready to go to battle. Nathan, here we go. Murray, Stevens, and look at that, the junior rider, James here right there, but Stephanie Sidlick going by her. Stephanie Sidlick wants to get her name in this conversation. She might be one of the final riders to get up there and really challenge. Oh, we're going to be going deep now, Nathan. How about Christy Tracy out here?
Yeah, Christy Tracy, 7.2 watts per kilogram coming from her, setting up Carolyn Murray, it looks like. Let's give one more look here real quickly. Current situation before we hit the official climb. This is where things stand. Lauren Stevens, she currently leads things out untouchable. But Christy Tracy and Carolyn Murray, they're in defense of second and third place. Monali Keller from Revo, Daniela Estrate, then it's Clara James Hurt. They're all up toward the front. I believe Charlotte Backus just a little ways off the back here from this front group of three now at this point. This is the situation, though. Laura Matson-Cole, Morgan Sheffen, all around. I'm not sure if Takashita is
I don't think Takashita is here.
No, she's not showing up on the day. So there's some places available here with some points.
Yeah, so that's the Japanese rider that we're talking about, and that's unfortunate. She's been great out here. So, again, now, kind of settle into your rhythm. It's going to be a whole world of suffering in the next 5 minutes or so for these ladies. Not even 5 minutes, is it, Nathan? We're not that far from the finish now.
No, we're looking at about 4 to the top most likely in this race right now. 3 riders off the front really is where things are at. Stephanie Sidlick trying to claw her way back. As you can see, 177 beats per minute now. Kolchinsky is there as well, almost back on the wheel. These meters matter so much, though. Close the Gap, as you can see, is going to be on their screen, and it's so incredibly difficult. 5-6 watts per kilogram. Trying to pull this back. Look at the heart rates there. Just stuck, just right on over threshold there. You can't hit max heart rate at this point, or you just have to stop pedaling, essentially, right? And so these riders are just holding on to what they possibly can for the duration of this climb. We've got 3 working together to try and bring back the 3 off the front now. Actually, this might surge a little bit to 4 or 5 now, as we have Cameron here from Saris as well. But Carolyn Murray on the front, they want to win here up against Lauren Stevens. Not sure it's going to be happening as Lauren. It looks like maybe just playing games a little bit here. 181 beats per minute, moves her way to the front. I know Lauren's been putting in a big block of training, though, as well. We'll see if she's got a little bit tired legs, but I have a feeling she's still going to have the kick to come up and over the top of these ladies.
Yeah, world class can be tired and still beat what you'd call national class. We'll see if that's going to be the case here today, because Caroline Murray is certainly more than just national class. She's world class as well. I got to give Tracy credit. The Saris team here has done a good job. Let's see if they can hold on to 2 of the top 3 spots in the overall. I think they will now, Nathan. Actually, this is going to be an outstanding ride here from Christy Tracy, but there you go. The cork on the bottle of pain has just been popped, as that's going to be Lauren Stevens going clear. No surprise here at all. The wattage goddess doing what she does best, putting on a clinic in pain. So that's going to be Stevens going clear. It was only a matter of time.
Here from Stevens now. You can see 186 beats per minute currently coming from her. And it's going to be Murray here trying to make the chase. It looks like Murray's going to get the better of her teammate, Christy Tracy. Perhaps we'll see if Tracy can dig a little deeper here and try and beat out Murray. This is essentially going to be your series overall situation, actually, in that order.
Yeah.
Stevens, Murray, Tracy there. Monali Keller, little ways behind. She's going to be battling it out here. Keller is she going to be able to hold on? And it looks like, yes, she's not in threat, really. Clara, I do not believe, can really threaten her at this point when it comes to the overall. I have to double check the points there, though. Depends. There's big points on the line, though. Across, I mean, with you have to take first place, though, for 35 and as well as 30 and then 25. So I don't think that there's any real threat there for those minor placings between James Herr and Monali Keller.
Well, it has been a great 10 weeks of racing, no doubt about it, Nathan. Very, very enjoyable. I'll be excited to hear what's coming up next. But a big thank you to USA Cycling, all of our friends there that are working so hard to keep the spirit of cycling alive, which they're doing a very effective job of that. So many things are out of our control right now, Nathan. We've all learned a lot about patience and hope, and that's the number one thing to remember, is that we will all be okay. We're going to get back out there and race someday, but until that day comes, let's enjoy the heroes of Zwift. And this woman, Lauren Stevens, takes the win here today. Congratulations, Lauren. Another beautiful ride here to take the win and the series here at the USA Cycling Race League. Murray for second.
Murray coming across for second. We just saw, it looks like Christy Tracy for third. Stephanie Sidlick is just about to cross the line. It looks like just behind them. And we'll get the rest of the results coming up in here in just a moment. See if we can find Stephanie out there as she crosses the line. There's a few others, it looks like. Angela Pitzer as well. We'll see if we can jump in with Angela. It looks like she's climbing up in about 21st. Look at the suffering, though. I mean, gives you an idea of how incredibly difficult this is. This climb is. It looks like Curry also making her way to the line to the Amy D Foundation. Beck is there. Beck's due. Solid ride here coming in from her. Clara James Herr going to be grabbing a top 10. So it looks like Sidlick was able to get right around, I think, 7th or 8th place. We'll have to double check on the results in just a second here. King there. CLS. Pamela Levine still to the line. A little bit of a battle here between King, Levine, and Dew. This will be interesting as it does play out.
Every spot matters in this sport. Looks like 3 riders finishing together here as they wrap up this series. Yeah, Nathan, again, giving Becca due credit. Welcome to the big leagues. As that's a name that we'll be remembering here as we watch Charlotte finishing now. Boy, incredibly proud of this young rider, the Fort Lewis College graduate, finishing up for Turbo here today. Job well done out there, Charlotte.
Quick little shout out to Brinker. She brings in a top 20 in her first A race. That's a significant. That's a pretty significant result, actually. Definitely want to give a shout out there real quick and say solid job. First A race ever, and bringing in a top 20, especially amongst this group out here today. That's a pretty big result. So great job out there. She crosses the line. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our results out here today. Dave, I'll throw it on over to you for the men's results, and we'll take a quick look at the ladies.
All right, great. So this is the day of racing with Stefan Kirchmeier, the Austrian, taking the win with a huge effort out there, as Dan Fleeman will take the silver, and Portuguese rider Daniel Ricciardo in for third, Jimmy Kershaw fourth, Edwin Park in fifth, Caleb Carl, Matteo Sigala, Scott Catanzaro, Gavin Dempster, and Jaden Yeager rounding out our top 10. I should say Jaden Jagger. I apologize.
I think it's Yager. I think, but
is it? Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that one out. Could go either way, right? So here we go with Cody Hill taking it for the Bees here. Tim Anderson in second, Ian Mulligan third, Jerry Mewett in fourth, Dustin Byers, London Warburton, eRacing, Rory Osbrink, Mikkel Redder, and First Russ. There's your top 10 for the Bees. Moving into the C's now, we've got out of the UK, Lintz taking the win. Harry Burson, the Swiss rider, in second for silver. And then Justin Evans taking the bronze medal in third. Chisholm McDonald in fourth. Mark Fraser fifth. They're finishing right now, actually. Mike Klebold across the line. Then in seventh, it's Dustin Boberg, Dale Backus, David Watts, and David Fiore rounding out our top 10 for the C's.
Dale Backus, is there a relationship there? Is that going to be Charlotte
That's a
Backus
good question.
Backus?
Now,
I wonder if there's a
I saw
relationship.
Charlotte saluting her dad on Father's Day, and he is a cyclist. I wonder. We'll find out. And the D's are still out there. Yeah.
Still finishing up out there today. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the results here for the A category of the women. And it looks like, it says it's the Bell Lap, interesting enough. Is that going to be, we'll have to wait and see if perhaps we grabbed the wrong results here, Nathan. Did you really mess this one up?
But this is good.
So.
This is actually correct. Yeah, it's just that the header is wrong. You're good. Nice work.
So Lauren Stevens there, across the line, followed up by Carolyn Murray, then Christy Tracy, Stephanie Sidlick, Lauren Manson Cole, and then Monalee Keller, Kristen Kay, Claire Cameron, and then Clara James Herb, Pamela Levine across the line for the top 10 placings in the women's category. Still finishing up in the B's, C's, and D's, everybody. So we're going to call it a day for you as they're looking to finish up their racing. 10 race series almost done. We're done for the afternoon. We're done for the morning. I still got.
Now you have to race.
I'm tired. I mean, honestly, it's been a long. So the commitment thing, the whole okay, there's something about motivation and okay, I gotta win. There's competition. We're like built for it, obviously, in some ways, because now that I'm looking at it well, how hard do I have to go today? Then again, I did ride 70 miles yesterday, so yesterday's ride was a hard ride, and so we're in the middle of a big training block here, Dave.
Yeah, my colleague didn't time that perfectly because Nathan is leading. So we race multiple times every day, and Nathan races in the evenings where he is in Wisconsin. So, but he's leading the series, but I think you've got a little bit of a padding there as well. So
we'll have to see.
Good luck, my friend.
Leith Hill. I did Leith Hill over the weekend 4 times, Kiss 100. I know what the suffering is over the top of this thing, but the depth of this race maybe a little bit more than what I was up against in the KISS 100, so we'll have to wait and see. Plus, going over the top 4 times in a 100-kilometer race, we take it a little bit easier maybe than what we're going to see in an all-out battle to the top. We're going to have to hold on, though, that's for sure. So tune in tonight, guys. I think we're going to be live here tonight with my live racing. I won't be commentating this time. Maybe for the first half, it's going to be flatter, but second half, I think, over the top of the climb, it's just going to be Dave watching absolute suffering. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, though, as always. Thanks a lot to USA Cycling for putting this together. Saris the Post Closet did say during the broadcast in chat that be on the watch out. There is some cool, short, punchy racing coming up in July. So be on the watch out for that. We'll definitely be looking for that announcement and more broadcasting of Zwift Racing. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later tonight for the evening race. And as always, ride on.